A trauma bond refers to the deep emotional attachment one might feel towards their abuser. Like when you're watching a talk show and the woman is like, yeah, I found condoms in his pocket. We got into a fight. He spit in my face. He cheats on me. I find phone numbers. But why do you stay with him? Because I love him. That's a trauma bond. Y'all see what I'm saying? Y'all bonding over trauma. You're bonding over trauma. That's not love. And is more likely to develop in those who have a history of abuse. Have you been in and out of foster care? Being molested, being abused, being taken advantage of. Those type of situations set you up for this. Living with parents who abuse you and take advantage of you. Trauma bonds with your parents set you up for this. It makes you a good candidate for this. A history of exploitation. Exploitation. Or a young girl growing up in a household and the mama addicted to drugs and dudes coming over at the house, but they don't want the old drugged out mama. I want that little girl. How much you gonna give me for it? That's exploitation. Trauma bond refers to the deep emotional attachment one might feel towards their abuser and is more likely to develop in those who have a history of abuse, exploitation, or emotional codependency in their past relationships. Saying of the day, never save space for someone you have to protect yourself from. I said that last week. I'm bringing it up again today because it's perfect for what we're talking about today. Never save space for somebody you have to protect yourself from. This talk is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional advice, treatment, guidance, or diagnosis. If you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health crisis, substance use and abuse, or suicidal thoughts, dial 988. 988 is available 24/7 nationwide and staffed by trained crisis counselors who are just a text or a call away. 8 signs you have a trauma bond and it's not love. Because sometimes we misinterpret trauma bonds for love. Number 1, your abuser is outwardly charming. Because you want to know what? Abusers, if they come into your life the way abusers come into people's life, as an abuser, you're not going to accept them. So they have to come into your life a different way. Ooh, I'm about to tell on some people. Oh, I'm about to tell on some people. Your abuser is outwardly charming. Of course, if given the choice, no one would willingly choose to pursue a relationship with someone who acts abusive towards them. The problem is, however, the toxic relationships don't start out that way, and it's usually only when you're already experienced the abuse that you start to realize that something is wrong. You don't usually realize something's wrong until after you already experiencing the abuse. And 9 times out of 10, they already emotionally got their hooks into you. Because y'all know the difference between being emotionally wrapped up into a relationship and just having a regular old relationship. Because I don't care who the person is. She could be a stripper. You spend enough time with her, you're going to emotionally get wrapped up into her. I don't care who you are. The more time, that's how we are as human beings. The more time you spend with somebody, the more you start getting wrapped up into them emotionally. You ever had a chick and you were like, man, I'm just going to hit it and quit it. But she never did anything to piss you off yet. So you still got her around. And here it is 6 or 7 months later. You call, you get ready to leave the club. Your friend like, well, I'm about to go home. You're like, no, I'm going to go over to my little hookup's house. Oh, you still kicking it with her? Yeah. You go over there, you go over the little hookup. The one you be dogging all the time? Yeah. The one you just be having sex with all the time? Yeah. I don't care nothing about her. That's my hit it and quit it until you pull up over there late night on some drunk and somebody already over there. Now you outside crying. Baby, open the door. Because you didn't know you was that emotionally wrapped up. It's a thin line, ain't it? Look at Don over there. Don has been outside that door. Open the door, girl. I was the dude in the house while he was outside. Open the door, girl. Like, who the hell is that? You might develop a trauma bond with someone if they are outwardly charming, sweet, caring, and seem trustworthy to you, but don't be fooled. There may be a hidden agenda or something more sinister lurking beneath the person. So these people can come off as charming, they can come off as sweet and caring in the beginning. Because when it comes to relationships, we as human beings, the outside is what hooks people, or at least what gets their attention. Am I right? See, but what's on the inside is what's going to keep them. If it's a healthy relationship, what's on the inside is either going to keep them or push them away. 8 signs you have a trauma bond and not love. Number 2, they are emotionally unpredictable. The person who you with in a relationship with is emotionally unpredictable. Have you ever asked yourself, why don't people just leave the relationship once they realize that it's unhealthy for them, right? Why don't they just leave once you realize it's unhealthy? The trouble is, it's a lot harder to spot trauma bonding when it's up close and personal opposed to if you just saw it happening on a talk show. It's easier to see trauma on TV than to see it right in your life. Because the person on TV could be going through the same thing you're going through, and you looking at them like they're stupid. You're experiencing the same thing. But the Bible talks about that too, don't it? We talked about that. Splinter in your neighbor's eye, but you don't notice the plank in your own eye, right? This is because abusive partners can often be emotionally manipulative too. They might abuse you and devalue you only to shower you with kindness, apologies, and promises to change. So they're going to balance that mistreatment off with some apologies. Oh, you gonna mess up. You done ripped her clothes off because you ain't like what she was wearing. You done spit on her. You done threw her down on the bed. You done held her down. And now you scared she gonna call the police. So what you done did is going in your wallet. You done made some crocodile tears. You done gave her like $200. Baby, go buy you some more clothes. But you gonna keep mistreating.
That reminded me of the movie Baby Boy. When he hit her.
Mm-hmm.
Remember he hit her?
Mm-hmm. Yep. But you ain't gonna never change. This serves as a positive reinforcement to make you second guess any thoughts you might have of leaving them. They gaslighting you. Every time you think about leaving them, they're gonna bring up, but baby, I was there when your mom passed away. Remember, I was there. I was the one hugging you and holding you and all that. That was like 5 years ago. Baby, I was there when you lost that job. Remember when you lost your job, I was paying your bills for you. I was taking care of you. They always want to try to bring something up to justify why they treat you the way they treat you. 8 signs you have a trauma bond and it's not love. Number 3, they take their problems out on you. Because a person who loves you is not going to take their problems out on you. Am I right? A person don't go home and take their problems out on their dog if they smart. Think back to the last time your partner, friend, or family member heard some bad news or faced a problem. Let it get deep right now, man. How do they usually deal with it? How do they deal with it? Do they usually lash out, take it out on you, even when you've done nothing wrong? They could be only keeping you around as their psychological punching bag, which means you become the emotional dumping ground for all their problems. They might be keeping you around for one reason. They need an emotional punching bag. You get all the leftover nastiness from their day. If something doesn't go right at work, you're the one who gets yelled at. When plans don't pan out, you get a steaming fresh pile of emotional vomit when things don't work out. 8 signs you have a trauma bond and it's not love. Number 4, they isolate you from your support system. If you're in a relationship with somebody, man, and before you met that person, you was having some problems with your mom or your dad or your brother or your cousin or your sister or your friends, and they don't come help you walk through that, they help drive a wedge between you and those people, nobody can say they love you, man, if they help driving a wedge between you and your mama. They're going to drive a wedge between you and your daddy. You only get one daddy and one mama. Some people might think it's sweet to have someone who wants them all to themselves and gets jealous of those you spend your time with. Some people think that's cute when it starts off in the beginning. He's so jealous. He's so crazy. Yeah, until he acting crazy. There's a difference between loving someone so much that you want them around all the time and actively working to isolate them from the other important relationships in their lives. An isolator gets mad at you for spending time with anyone who isn't them. Isolators try to control who you're with or ask you to distance yourself from your family and your friends. They get jealous of you just being with your dog. Now that's crazy. Yeah. Oh, come on, man. There's some dudes get jealous of a woman and her kids. Try to drive a wedge between her and her kids. Quit giving them kids money all the time. You don't need to be doing that. They need to grow up and do something for themselves. See how they keep asking you? They are using you. Da, 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 da. Man, if you got a person in your life, man, don't drive wedges between the people who they love. 8 signs you have a trauma bond and it's not love. Number 5, you deny or minimize their abusive behavior. Making excuses for them. Oftentimes, the most telling sign that you're in a destructive relationship is if you find yourself constantly trying to deny or minimize the other person's wrongdoings. We look past all their mistreatment towards us and minimize the abuse by saying things like, oh, it's not that bad, or I don't mind it, or they're really a good person on the inside, because in the moment, it is easier for us to just excuse it away instead of confronting what might be a terrible, harsh reality that the person you're in love with is abusing you. Sometimes you got to be brave enough to admit to yourself the person you in a relationship is abusive and they are abusing you. And the sooner you get out of it, the better off you're going to be. Because it's hard trying to make something work that's just not going to work, no matter what you do. You can go get some Gorilla Glue and it ain't going to be put back together. Some things are better to let go. Number 6 is you constantly make excuses for them. The moment you can no longer deny or minimize what the other person has done is when a family member or a close friend says something like, what they did to you is not okay. Don't let them treat you like that. Because we got some family and some friends that if they come back into your life and they finally get to meet the person that you with and they start observing y'all, there's some family members that be like, hold up. Don't let nobody treat you like that. Am I right? We got some family members that if they were around and if they saw some stuff or heard some stuff, they'll pull you to the side and say, don't let nobody treat you like that. And this right here ain't right here. That's why oftentimes they try to keep you from people who love you. Because people who love you going to see that stuff off the top. And they're going to say something. You're probably still going to try, and even with somebody who you care about saying something like that, you're probably going to get an attitude today in your business. Or they got a comment about your relationship. That's how you really know you far gone with this whole situation. At times, you might even find yourself feeling like you deserve their mistreatment. It's a lot of people feel like they deserve it. And you don't. Once you start thinking like this, that is a critical sign that you are in a trauma bond and not a loving relationship. 8 signs you have a trauma bond and not love. Number 7, you're becoming more and more emotionally numb, which means you've been hurt so much, you can't even feel no more hurt. You've been lied to so much, mistreated so much, that you can't even feel it anymore. That's the same thing like if you get shot. I've been shot. Anybody else in here been shot? Okay, y'all know what it feels like. You're going to feel a numbness. You're going to feel the pain, but eventually, if you stay awake, you're going to feel some numbness. That's to help protect you from the pain. You're becoming more and more emotionally numb. When in a relationship, have you ever noticed yourself feeling less and less like yourself, or you feel more detached, emotionally numb? You might be feeling this way because subconsciously it's your mind's way of coping with all of the abuse that is hard to deal with from the persons you're trauma bonded to. You can't take any more pain, fear, or anger. You can't take any more pain, fear, or anger, or heartache. So instead, you close yourself off from all of your emotions. When you do this, you're not as vibrant as you was. You're not as talkative as you was or as expressive as you was when you become emotionally numb. You quit. Yeah, come on, man. Y'all ever saw a fine woman hook up with the wrong kind of man? And then you see her a year or 2 later, she a shell of her former self. A terrible relationship can break you down. I've seen beautiful women with a glow hook up with a certain dude, and then you see her a year or 2 later, the glow is gone. It's like her eyes, like a blank stare in her eyes, like a nothingness behind her eyes. That's numbness. 8 signs you have a trauma bond and not love. Number 8, and the final one, you're hiding certain aspects of your relationship from others. Yeah, when you hide certain aspects of your relationship, if you're hiding it, it's probably something you shouldn't be doing. She don't want to tell her mama, she don't want nobody in her family to know that him and her be making videos and posting them online. Well, good luck with that. She don't want nobody to know that this dude done got her involved in some swinging stuff. And she knows she wasn't raised nothing like that. But if you hiding it, it might be something that's not in line with your life. Or why are you hiding it? Number 8, you're hiding certain aspects of your relationship from others. Finally, but perhaps most importantly, if you start to hide certain aspects of your relationship from those around you, then you know that there's definitely something wrong. Because why else would you actively try to cover up how bad things are getting between you and the other person? Loyalty towards an abusive significant other is a hallmark of trauma bonding. Loyalty towards an abusive significant other is a hallmark of trauma bonding. So you might find yourself becoming defensive or even angered by other people's attempts to intervene in your relationship and help you. So in closing, if you or anyone you know is trapped in a trauma bond with someone abusive, don't hesitate to speak out and seek help. Reach out to a mental health professional today and get in touch with authorities who can help. So, 8 signs you have a trauma bond and it's not love. Number 1 is your abuser is outwardly charming. Number 2, they are emotionally unpredictable. Number 3, they take their problems out on you. Number 4, they isolate you from your support system. Number 5, you deny or minimize their abusive behavior. Number 6, you constantly make excuses for them. Number 7, you're becoming more and more emotionally numb. And then the final one, number 8, you're hiding certain aspects of your relationship. That was deep. Did y'all get it? Did it hit home? Good. That's all. That's all. What's important. All right, y'all. Let's get our day started.